Let me give you a quick update about what's happening in Pakistan. We just went to the polls recently. Suspense over who will form the next government in Pakistan continues as the results continue to trickle for 2 days after the polls. Independent candidates backed by the Pakistan Tehrik-e-Amsaraf look dominant with 101 seats, while the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz and Pakistan People's Party won on 75 and 54 seats in the Legislative Assembly. The PMNL, the PPP, have stepped up efforts to form a coalition government. Meanwhile, PTI-backed candidate Shehzad Farooq, who was contesting against Nawaz Sharif's daughter, gathered PTI workers and protested outside over alleged rigging in the elections. Rawalpindi police also fired tear gas on women protesters. The PTI has been demanding immediate resignations of the Chief Election Commissioner and other officials of the Election Commission of Pakistan. At this moment, it looks as if the PPP of the Bhuttos and the PMNL of the Sharifs are likely to come together in some kind of a power-sharing formula to form the next government. So with this, let me come now to the question that we asked in the Mood of the Nation poll, which is about whether India should have talks with Pakistan. 26% said yes, 55% of the respondents said no. Rachingappa, there's been a lot of talk in Delhi and Islamabad that if Nawaz Sharif were to come back to power, if Modi comes back to power in May, then there's a chance that they could give rapprochement another shot. All that seems to have come undone because you've got now a coalition government with the PTI doing much better than General Munir would have expected. And you've got, I mean, India stays on course in the way that it was, but all calculations in Pakistan seem to have gone out of the window.
You know, Rahul, as someone who's watched Pakistan elections since 1996, there's a sense of deja vu. History repeats itself.
When did this happen again? When Pakistani army wanted something which didn't happen?
Well, if you recall, in 2008, when Musharraf was toppled in the sense that he had tried to promote a king's power, it was Nawaz Sharif and Zardari that came together to form a national government. They didn't have the majority of their own. And we have seen this right through.
No, but at that time, the Pak army, it wasn't as if they explicitly said they wanted something in the opposite
Well, they
hand.
certainly didn't want a very powerful political dispensation because Musharraf, if you're General Musharraf, who was that time the CEO and president and everything else that was in charge of Pakistan, he had taken, locked horns with the lawyers and the courts, and that was his undoing. We had actually built very good relations with Pakistan on this. The larger point is it's not the political establishment that really deals with India. For India to have good relations with Pakistan, it has to have an army counterpart that is willing to do so. Now, with regard to, there was moves, as we know, when General Bajwa was there to build a certain relationship, the LOC had gone silent. Every change provides an opportunity for both the countries to engage. The point is that India will stand firm when it comes to terrorism, and that's something, and Kashmir. These are two big issues that India, that stops forward movement of it. It is Pakistan's pragmatism to realize that Kashmir now is, almost like a closed chapter. They may not say so, but they will do, and the other thing was terror, because their economy is in tatters. It needs to demonstrate that it is not supporting terror, that it needs all the IMF and other aid that is there. And so you do have a window of opportunity that is going to come up once. It's going to be a really tough job for anyone to run Pakistan.
No, but the problem is if Michael Kugelman, since you've been writing so much about Pakistan, given that no one party came to power on their own, how does that impact any potential rapprochement which may have been attempted post-May? Because now you have a coalition government, you have an army that's weaker internally than it's ever been. You probably in the end have Nawaz Sharif, Zardari coalition government. So how does that impact what's happening between India and Pakistan? More importantly, what's happening in Pakistan itself?
Right. Well, I would argue that despite the striking result of PTI-sponsored independents taking more seats than any other single party, I think in the end the army in Pakistan will get exactly what it was hoping to get, and that is a weak and fractious coalition comprised of parties that it prefers these days, the PMNL and the PPP. So I think it'll be a government that looks a lot like the previous government, the PDM government that served out the rest of Imran Khan's term. Now, in terms of what that could mean for India, well, I think that the fact that this will be a weak government, it may not last very long in Pakistan, that gives it very little political space to take politically risky steps, such as potentially trying to reach out to India. And I would argue that Nawaz, of course, is someone that has articulated a desire to look into outreach to India, particularly from a commercial perspective. I do think that he is one that would be willing to look at the idea of trying to open up more border trade with India. There are some pretty significant, influential business constituencies from Punjab within the PMLN party that would support that. But I think that it'll be very difficult to do that, given how weak this coalition will be. And of course, as was said before, ultimately it comes down to the army as to what position Pakistan might take vis-a-vis India. And I think that the Pakistani army, in my sense, has not veered from its position that Kashmir has to change. There has to be changes vis-a-vis Kashmir before there could be serious talks.
Sushant, Sareen, the mood in India seems very firm. 55% of the respondents in our poll saying no matter what, there should be no talks with Pakistan. Full stop. I mean, there is no if, no but, no prospect of rapprochement in the minds of these 55% people. They're saying no, India should not have talks with Pakistan.
Rahul, I'm kind of enthused to see that a sense of realism has dawned on the Indian public opinion, if your survey is correct. Because it would be plain stupid to try and reach out to Pakistan at this point in time. Number one, what has happened in Pakistan on the 8th of February is unprecedented. I think if there is a precedent you have to look at, you have to go back to 1970 elections. I don't think the 1996 elections are comparable in any manner whatsoever with what has happened in this particular election, against all odds. So that is one. Secondly, I am all for that if an opportunity grants itself. But how do we define an opportunity? Is an opportunity simply that, okay, fine, I'll come to your house, you come to my house, we'll exchange a few gifts. Okay, should we try and open up some trade? What's in it for me? So let's be, we were in the last session, we were talking about, the kind of pragmatism and the kind of realism that Modi brings into diplomacy. The bottom line is, we've been doing this to death. Like, let's just meet the Pakistanis. Let's have, some siri pie with them or some other goddamn thing with them. And then, it's all the Punjabis will meet and, do papi jappi. Where has it led us? So, my question is, be bloody-minded about it, be cold-hearted about it. If you are getting what you want, go ahead and strike a deal. But will you get what you want when a guy like Asim Munir, I'm not even sure how long he stays in power now, because I disagree with people who say that the Pakistan army will control everything. I think things are spiraling out of control of the Pakistan army. If they get a weak government, that weak government can't deliver on majority of the issues that Pakistan has to deal with. And Nawaz Sharif, if he's looking at a legacy to leave to his daughter, he's going to actually destroy that legacy if he takes over power, because he will have to do things which will destroy his politics for all time to come. Number one. Number two, you have, even if Asim Munir was to stay, please listen to what Asim Munir has been telling people. We cannot have reconciliation with a country like India, which has never accepted our existence. Number one. Number two, he has spoken about India in terms of a civilizational conflict. Now, if we are going to be, at least the public of India is not, fooled by this talk of rapprochement with Pakistan. But if somebody in government wants to go and, kiss and make up and again, suffer the same consequences that we have suffered in the past, we can do it again, but it's not going to lead us anywhere. So I am very happy to see the result of your survey. I think this shows a sense of realism.